So pull up a chair because I want you to imagine something for a second.
Oh, here we go.
No, seriously. Imagine a 300-year-old absolute monopoly just completely collapsing overnight.
Right.
Zero market share out of nowhere.
Right. Total vacuum.
Exactly. The market is wide open, and this hot new startup is perfectly positioned to capture all of it. I mean, they have the talent, the momentum, everything.
Yeah.
But then the toxic management steps in. You get this egomaniacal CEO who basically burns the entire thing to the ground.
Classic tale.
Right. So in today's deep dive, we are looking at this incredible traditional Chinese storyteller's script. It's an epic about ancient warlords, blood oaths, the whole deal.
But reading through the sources, it's amazing how perfectly it maps onto modern corporate disasters.
It really does.
Yeah.
It is literally the catastrophic failure of a unicorn startup. We're going to look at what happens when a boss prioritizes his own fragile ego over his top-tier talent.
Because organizational rot always trickles down from the corner office. Always.
Always. I mean, human nature doesn't change, right?
Not a bit. Strip away the imperial decrees and the ancient armor, and you're left with the exact same dysfunction. The paranoid boardroom dynamics, the inevitable collapse, it's all exactly the same pathology we see today.
So if we're looking at this through the lens of a massive corporate collapse, we have to start at the absolute top.
Emperor Yangguang.
Emperor Yangguang of the Sui dynasty. This guy is the ultimate out-of-touch, delusionally arrogant CEO.
He really is.
I mean, by the 14th year of the Day era, his empire is just bleeding out. The Korean campaigns totally drained the treasury. The provinces are in open rebellion. His market share is functionally zero.
And where is he during all this?
Right. He's isolated himself in his opulent palace down in Yangzhou, basically hiding in his luxury corner office, living in a drunken stupor.
It's a complete bunker mentality. He effectively abandoned his capital in the north and just moved operations south.
Just ignoring the fires everywhere else.
Exactly. When an organization fundamentally fails, a weak leader will usually cling to the physical symbols of their power. You know, the palace, the title, the inner circle of bodyguards.
Right. He convinced himself that as long as he had his elite security detail, the Xiaogo army, he was still the boss.
But power is just a social contract.
And his contract was voided years ago. I was reading the breakdown of this mutiny in the source text, and it's just that classic dark irony, you know.
That the inner circle always turns on you first.
Yes. The people physically closest to the sinking ship are the ones who use your head as a stepping stone to reach the lifeboats.
Well, the Shabu guards were mostly northerners. They were homesick, their supply lines were failing, and they suddenly realized, no more imperial payroll was coming.
The checks were bouncing.
Right. They're trapped in Yangzhou with a leader who is completely detached from reality. So the head of security, Yuan Huaji, forces the issue.
He leads the mutiny.
Yeah, he surrounds the emperor right in his own private quarters.
And the dialogue in the source text during this confrontation is just, it's painfully dry. I love it.
It's brutal.
Yang Guang is standing there, right? Completely surrounded by armed men who used to kneel to him. And he's still putting on airs. He actually looks at them and asks, what crime have I committed?
Like he wants a performance review.
Exactly. And the rebels, they don't indulge his delusion at all. They just coldly reply, the whole world wants to eat your flesh, and you ask what crime.
It's a brutal 360-degree review delivered at sword point.
A completely hostile restructuring. So they hand him his severance package.
A white silk cloth.
Yep, the Jiangdu regicide. They strangle him with it, and that single violent act officially ends the massive Sui dynasty.
The 300-year-old behemoth is dead on the floor.
Which creates a massive vacuum. I mean, the state apparatus has completely dissolved.
The territory, the resources, the population, it is all suddenly up for grabs.
The corpse is still warm, and the market is entirely unregulated. So enter our disruptors.
The Wagang army.
The Wagang army. Now, Wagang started as this really scrappy grassroots operation. Yeah. Just fiercely loyal, deeply competent outlaws.
Founded by Cheng Yaojin.
Right, this rough-around-the-edges guy. But Cheng Yaojin does something you almost never see in leadership, then or now.
He steps down.
He steps down, he looks at the board, realizes he isn't the guy to scale the operation to the national level, and he hands over the reins.
He actually had the self-awareness to recognize that the skills required to start a rebellion aren't the same skills required to govern an empire.
Which is incredibly rare.
Yeah.
So the Wagang leadership brings in Li Mai.
The Wei Wang.
Yeah, known as the Wei Wang. For you listening, think of him as the ancient equivalent of the elite Ivy League MBA.
The outside hire.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Lei Ma comes from the prestigious Guanlong aristocratic bloc. He's got the pedigree, the classical education, the refined strategic vision.
On paper, at least.
Right, on paper. He's brought in to be the adult in the room who will legitimize Wagang, take them public, and unite the territory.
And it was a logical move, structurally. But organizational culture isn't built on a resume.
No, it's not.
Li Mi represented the elite establishment, while Wagang was fundamentally a grassroots outlaw brotherhood.
So there was class tension from day one.
Inherent class tension from the very moment he took over.
Oh, wait, let me push back on this for a second. Just from a purely cynical operational standpoint, didn't Li Mi kind of have a point?
How do you mean?
Well, you can't take a company public if your original board members are literally highwaymen and bandits. Wasn't the original founder, Rang, actually a liability to Wagang's legitimacy at that point?
I mean, maybe.
If you're Li Mi, you have to clean house, don't you?
Sure, but cleaning house through buyouts or forced early retirements is one thing. Li Mi pulling a hangman banquet on Rang is the ultimate betrayal.
Oh, man, yeah, the banquet.
He didn't just remove Rang from the board. He invited him to a dinner party and had him slaughtered.
Which is a pretty aggressive HR move.
You have to look at the mechanical fallout of that decision. It wasn't just a murder. It was the targeted destruction of the organization's psychological safety.
Right. The source material dwells heavily on the fallout of that dinner. It wasn't just about one guy dying.
Because it instantly chilled the entire command structure. Wagang was built on this Jianghu honor system.
Martial underworld code.
Exactly. Blood oaths, absolute trust, brotherhood. When Li Mi murders the beloved original founder out of pure insecurity, he broadcasts a very clear message.
No one is safe.
Right. If the man who built the foundation can be executed at a dinner party, the social contract of the Wagang army is completely broken.
It's just staggering incompetence. It really makes you shake your head to read about it.
It gets worse.
It does. Because not only is Li Mi this paranoid, toxic executive, his grand business strategy turns out to be complete garbage.
He had everything handed to him.
He did. Wagang had this massive structural advantage. They'd captured the Luku granaries, meaning they controlled the entire food supply.
And a battle-hardened, million-man elite army.
Right. They had the runway to win it all.
Yeah.
So what does the brilliant MBA aristocrat do with all this venture capital?
He wastes his core assets in a grueling two-front war of attrition.
Unbelievable.
Instead of consolidating his power and marching on the capital, Li Mor gets bogged down fighting Yuan Huaji.
Wait, the guy who killed the emperor?
The very same.
But why, though? Yuan Huaji is just leading this starving, mutinous army back north. Just let them pass. Why bleed your own elite troops fighting them?
Ego and optics.
Just pure vanity.
Yep. Li Mor wanted the political capital of being the one to avenge the Sui dynasty. He thought defeating Yuan Huaji would prove his legitimacy to the old imperial elites.
Wow.
So he threw his best troops into a meat grinder at Liang. I mean, they won tactically, but they were exhausted, depleted, and completely demoralized.
Which leaves the back door completely wide open for Wang Shichong.
The warlord sitting over in Liang.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Wang Shichong just sits back, watches Wagang exhaust all its resources, and then launches an opportunistic strike.
The storyteller uses a really specific proverb here. A bad general makes a bad army.
I love that.
The failure wasn't at the tactical level. The soldiers fought bravely. The failure was entirely strategic.
The company rocks from the head down. And that leads us to the inevitable consequence, which is the mass exodus of the top-tier talent.
The Great Resignation.
Yes. And this is the part of the deep dive that really strikes a nerve for me. Because think about the original core team.
The Jiaoliyun crew.
Right, the guys who literally swore life and death blood oaths at the JLUN. Legendary commanders. Qin Xing, Cheng Yaojin, Luo Cheng, Xu Magong.
These guys are the rock stars of their era.
They are the engine of the entire movement. They're the operators who actually executed the vision on the ground while Li Mi was playing boardroom politics.
And they look at Li Mi. They look at the paranoid culture, the wasted resources, the dead founder.
And the text notes that they actually shed tears.
Not for Li Mi.
No, for what they built together. It's heartbreaking. And then they completely abandon ship. They just resign.
They scatter to find a true emperor.
It perfectly illustrates that old axiom, doesn't it?
That top talent rarely leaves a bad company, they leave a bad boss.
Exactly. When the shared vision is compromised by an executive's ego, abstract loyalty to the organization just evaporates.
Wudong didn't fail because they were outmaneuvered. They failed because their leadership drove all the competent people out the door.
Which brings us to a really fascinating, highly specific case study from this exodus.
Shan Jiansen.
Yes, I want to look at this one particular executive to show you how deeply personal grievances dictate these massive shifts in power.
Shan Jiansen is the tragic anchor of this entire narrative.
He really is.
He represents the collision of rigid, old-world personal codes with rapidly shifting geopolitical realities.
And the guy's profile is just wild. He's called the red-haired spiritual official.
Great title.
Right. Former head of the Shandong Highwaymen, a core founding member from the Jialiu Inn Blood Oath, and he wields a signature gold-nailed datewood lance.
He was a force of nature.
If you are building a team to conquer a continent, Shan Jiansen is your absolute heavy hitter. He's the guy you send in to close the impossible deal.
And he was deeply respected in the Jianghu. He was capable, fiercely loyal to his subordinates, and operated on a strict, uncompromising code of honor.
So here is the glaring contradiction. Wagang has dissolved. All of his best friends, the guys he swore to die with, are jumping ship.
And they're all making the incredibly obvious, smart career move.
Right. They're heading to Guangzhou to join the Tang family.
Who are clearly going to win the market and establish the new Tang dynasty.
It's where the equity is. So why on earth does Shan Jiansen refuse to go with them?
Because of a conflict of interest so deep, it fundamentally overrides his own survival instinct.
Tell them what happened.
Years earlier, the rival leader, Li Yuan, the patriarch of the Tang family, mistakenly killed Shan Jiansen's biological older brother.
Right. Li Yuan was shooting at someone else, or got spooked, and an arrow catches Shan's brother. It's an accidental death.
But in this context, that doesn't matter at all. Intent is irrelevant in the Jianghu Code. Blood was spilled.
It's an unreconcilable blood feud.
Exactly. For a man like Shan Jiansen, whose entire identity is forged in loyalty, family, and honor, working for the man who killed his brother is physically impossible.
It just supersedes career ambition entirely.
It supersedes his brotherhood with the Wagang founders, too. The source text gives him a definitive line.
What does he say?
He says, "You can all surrender to Tang, but I, Shan Jiansen, will never bow to the Li's family."
Man. But look at what that practically means. I'm reading this, and I'm just marveling at the pure destructive stubbornness
That's
of it.
walking away from his entire support network.
He takes his lance, turns his back on guaranteed success, and heads in the exact opposite direction.
Toward Liu Yang.
Right, to join Wang Shichang. And he chooses spite over strategy.
He absolutely does, and here's the critical psychological layer to this. Shan Jiansen is not naive. He is a veteran commander.
Right.
He knows exactly who Wang Shichang is. He knows Wang is treacherous, hypocritical, and fundamentally unfit to rule.
It is the ultimate cutting off your nose to spite your face career move.
Truly.
He knows it's a toxic workplace, but he signs the contract anyway, just because Wang Shichang happens to be fighting the Li family.
He binds his fate to a doomed ship purely because its cannons are pointed at his personal enemy.
Wow.
He's appointed the great general of Luoyang. He effectively becomes the final, tragic guardian of a crumbling regime.
And by taking that position, he locks in his own nightmare scenario.
Oh, absolutely.
Because he knows exactly who the Tang family is going to send to besiege Luoyang.
His old friends.
Right. He's going to end up looking across the battlefield, and the men leading the charge against him are going to be Qin Xiong and Cheng Yaojin.
The exact same guys he drank with and swore eternal loyalty to at the Jialiu Inn.
It is the inevitable consequence of letting personal vengeance dictate your strategy.
He allowed a ghost from his past to draft the blueprint for his future. And that guaranteed that his final act would be trying to kill the people he respected most.
So pull back and look at the whole board for a second. It is a devastating sequence of unforced errors.
Cascading failures.
You start with the monolithic Sui dynasty, dying a pathetic strangled death in Yangzhou because the CEO couldn't face reality.
Right.
Then the incredibly promising Wagang startup implodes, not because of market forces, but because an arrogant aristocrat couldn't handle sharing credit with a grassroots founder.
The ego kills the enterprise.
And finally, the absolute best talent in the realm is scattered, forced into opposing trenches to kill each other over old blood feuds and bad management.
Setting the board perfectly for the final showdown between the rising Tang dynasty and doomed Luoyang.
The historical details are specific to the 7th century, obviously, but the mechanics of the collapse are universal.
It's an autopsy of how arrogance, insecurity, and rigid pride consistently dismantle human organizations.
Exactly. The weapons change, but the psychology is identical. Which leaves a lingering thought about this entire cycle of disruption, you know?
What's that?
Well, we constantly praise the disruptors, the Wagang army, the scrappy startups, for tearing down stagnant monopolies.
But it makes you wonder.
If Limai had never murdered Xirang,
Right. Could Wagang have ever actually governed? Or is the brutal truth that disruptors are only genetically coded to tear things down and functionally incapable of building the system they seek to replace?
that's a great question. And it leaves you with a haunting choice, really.
Let's hear it.
If the empire falls and your startup scatters, what do? If you were forced to choose between guaranteed success working for a boss who deeply wronged your family, or joining a doomed ship purely to protect your pride and exact revenge, which path would you actually choose?
Man, that is heavy. Take that question with you, grab a drink, and think it over. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive. We'll see you next time.